So Halloween is coming up.
Yeah, Halloween's coming up, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you like Halloween? What are your thoughts? Because some people, nowadays, it seems like people don't really celebrate Halloween, from my knowledge.
Yeah, you're right. And alright, to be honest, I was kind of indifferent with Halloween. But what about you? Like,
I mean, like, in Vegas, fucking everybody celebrated Halloween. It was more like an excuse to go to parties.
really?
You know, did I ever tell you that story?
No.
About the Halloween party I went to? Oh, my. Is it okay to tell on the podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay, sweet. This was maybe, like, my junior year of high school, so I didn't have, like, a ton of friends, per se.
Okay.
So I was kind of, like, introverted, and I didn't really, like, I stayed inside all day. I was a little bit depressed. And I think there was one day, like, in my writing class, there was this girl I really liked. And I was, like, in my head, I'm like, you know what? I'm done just, like, staying inside all day. I'm going to, like, ask her out and see if we can go do something. You know, even if it was just hanging out.
Yeah.
So I went up to her and I was like, hey, what are you doing for Halloween? And she was like, I'm going to a party, actually, tomorrow night. It's not like, you know, like Halloween, but it's like, you know, a Halloween party.
Okay.
She's like, you want to come with? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'd be down. She's like, okay, cool. Don't wear a costume. And I was like, what? I was like super weirded out, because what kind of, like, if you're going to a Halloween party,
You gotta have a costume.
you gotta have a costume. It's like if you go to like a Christmas party, you wear a sweater or something, you know? So I was like, all right, whatever. I'll not wear I won't wear a costume. And back in the day, I used to like cosplay and go to conventions in costumes. So it was kind of like, it was weird because I always would dress up. So I'm like, I'm gonna dress up. I don't give a shit. I'll find a way. So I wore like this kind of outfit that could look like a Halloween costume. I had like this black shirt on and black pants and like just black Vans, and like I had like, you know, the fucking penguin from Hello Kitty?
Yeah.
I had a headband that kind of looked like the thing that's on the top of his head, so I went and I just said that was my excuse. And I think at some point I was just like, no, I'm not gonna bring the thing. I'm just gonna leave it at home.
I love that you have that, like, determination to still dress up for Halloween, even though you're not supposed to.
It only comes once a year, you know?
Yeah.
How are you gonna sit like to yourself at night and be like, I didn't wear a fucking Halloween costume to this party? I would just regret it for the rest of my life, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just wear a costume. If I get shit on for it, I don't care. I'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
So the next night, the girl pulls up, and apparently she brought her friend. She texted me like on the way. She's like, I brought my friends. I hope you don't mind. I'm like, no, I'm fine, whatever. And as I'm walking up to her car, I'm like, I wonder what they're wearing. You know, like, what do you wear to a Halloween party that's casual? And I open the door, and they're all wearing costumes. So, like, I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, you know what, whatever. I'm just going to this party. And on the way, I was like, why is this so important to me? Like, why did I have to go to this party? And in my head, I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm a junior. I know I want to go to art school. I know I want to, you know, like, and I didn't know if there were going to be parties at art school. So I'm like, if this is like one of my last chances as a high schooler to go out and do something like this.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever. If you're not going to be with me, I'll just go have my own time. You know, I'll meet people. I'll just, you know, I'm there for me. That was my logic.
Okay.
And also, if there was a cute girl that I was going with.
Yeah.
You know. So we roll up to the party, and before we get out, she's like, all right, we may not be on the list. And in my head, I'm like, there's a list? And we get out, and it's this giant mansion. Like, you know the house from, like, Home Alone?
Yeah.
Imagine a house from Home Alone if it had a giant fence around it.
God.
And, like, there was a bouncer at the door. That's what it was like. It was super weird.
What the hell?
But it was like the music was super loud, and it was like that energy where you're like, oh, I gotta get in there, you know? So she's like, we're not on the list. And I'm like, oh, I'll just get in line and I'll say I'm on the list and I'll slip the guy a 10. Because in Vegas, that's what you did for, you know, I was under 18 at the time, so that's what you would do for 18 plus.
You bribed
concerts.
them?
You bribed the bouncer. That's a thing everybody does.
Holy
you know?
shit.
So I was like, I'll do that. And she's like, you're not fucking doing that. Because then he's going to recognize you and he won't let you in. And I'm like, you're kidding, right? She's like, you're going to have to find some other way to get in. We'll find our way. You find your own way. And so I'm looking around the house and I'm like, maybe I should just leave. And then as I'm about to leave, I see there's like a big fence.
Yeah. Okay.
So I look at it and I look around, make sure nobody's going, and I sprint to it. And I jump it. And the next part was like, you know how people say, like, when you get scared, time moves, like, slower?
Yeah.
It was like that. But it was like, you know the Metal Gear Solid thing, the song that plays when the guys are like, who's there? That's what was playing in my head.
So the exclamation point.
Yeah, the exclamation mode,
Yeah.
like, doo-doo, and then, like, that whole thing. So I jump over this fence, right? And I look to my right, and I see this bouncer, and, like, he's looking at the list, and he looks over and makes eye contact with me like this, and I'm like,
Oh, shit.
no. And so I, like, put myself in a ball, and I, like, crash to the ground. There's all these rocks. I'm like, like, it hurts.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, who's over there? Who's out there? And, like, in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna die in this yard. So I'm balled up, and then he starts walking over. He's like, "You two, right there, get back over." And I look behind me. These guys dressed like a Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy were trying to sneak in with me, and they got caught instead of me. And so I'm sitting in this bush, like hurtled up, and I'm like, "Oh, it's not me, it's them." So I'm like, I should stay here just in case. And then I'm glad I did, because he came up and he like looks over the bush with his flashlight, and he's like, "There's nobody there," and he walks away. There's a moment where I'm like, I cheated. I cheated getting caught for a second.
You cheated death,
so
basically.
I cheated death. That's what it felt like. I cheated death.
Holy
so I
shit.
get up and I like walk into the party, and there's like this like Gambino music, like, like hard bass, and you can feel it in your chest. And I get in, and those girls are just like already in there, just having a good time. And in my head, I'm like, what the fuck is their problem? Like, how come they couldn't bring? They got in, but so I get in, and they're already in there. And in my head, I'm like, what a bunch of fucking assholes, you know? And I'm like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. I don't care anymore. I'm done. So I go out in the backyard, and I start talking with this one girl, right? And it's like, it's hard to explain what she was like, but you know those girls that are like, you're so funny.
Yeah.
Like, and you're not saying any jokes or anything? It was like one of those girls.
Okay.
But she was also already pretty fucking drunk. So in my head, I'm like, oh, she likes me. And then when I got home, like, she was just like pissed drunk. Like, she doesn't like me. She's just some weirdo.
Yeah.
So we're talking, and out of nowhere, she's like, have you had something to drink yet? You look kind of like timid. And I'm like, no, I haven't. I couldn't find the drinks. And she pulls off this backpack she's got on. She opens it up, and she just pulls out a full bottle of Smirnoff, like still sealed, like not even touched, and she just hands it to me. And she's like, go ahead, you can keep it. And I'm like,
keep it.
in my head, I'm like, you're fucking kidding me.
Not even like, oh, you can chug it a little bit. It's
right.
just
She's
like, fucking
she's
keep
like,
it.
keep it.
It's
and
a
in my
gift.
head, I didn't realize that you could reseal bottles. So I was like, oh, she just fucking bought a bottle, and maybe she just doesn't want it. So I open it up, and I drank like if this is the bottle, I drank maybe this much. I drank a lot.
Okay.
And I didn't have anything to eat before.
Oh.
So I went like crashed.
Yep.
And so maybe like an hour goes by, the cops show up because somebody passed out, and somebody called 911 because they thought his pulse stopped.
Oh,
they thought his pulse stopped. It didn't. They call 911. They kick all of us out. They find those girls, and they're like, "You don't look again." I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm living my best life. I'm doing great right now." And they were all just like, "All right, just get in the car. Come on." So I get in the car with them, and then the girl I was with drops off like the two girls that were hanging out in the back. And so it's just me and her, and she's like, do you want to get like something to eat or something? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, what do you want to get? And she's like, how does In-N-Out sound? I'm like, I fucking love In-N-Out.
Dude.
So we were on the way to In-N-Out, and so my curfew was always 12. It's always been 12, like when I lived with my parents. And her curfew was like 11. Okay. So she thought it must have been like 9:30 or something. She looks at her phone, it's like 10:30. She's like, we can't go to In-N-Out. I got to get home. And like in my mind, I'm like,
Whoa,
I probably...
Wait. You said like 10:30? Like,
yeah.
That party ended so early.
I know, that was the
shit.
worst thing. It like ended, and we were all like pretty drunk. So it's like, what do you do now? You can't go to another party.
Yeah.
Because you're already drunk. You're just like, I guess I just go home now. So like we were gonna go to In-N-Out just to kill some time, and she's like, we can't go because my curfew's in like 30 minutes, and it takes 30 minutes to get home. And so I'm like, in my head, I'm like, whatever, it's fine. I didn't want In-N-Out that much. We're driving on the highway, right? She's not drunk. She was like the DD, so she's not drunk at all. We're driving. I'm in the back seat because I wanted to lay down. I look up, and there's this giant In-N-Out sign, like, on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
And I look out, and this is all, like, I blacked out around here. Like, I don't remember this, but from what the girl said, I looked out, and I had my hands on the window, and I was crying. And she's like, do you want to stop? And I said, you're such a fucking bitch. I hate you. I hate you. And she was like, I'm just going to take you home. And then she dropped me off at home, and I just got in bed, and I woke up the next morning, and I'm like, man, I could really go for In-N-Out. And that's my first Halloween party, I guess. So Halloween in Vegas was like completely different.
Yeah, I can see that.
The moral of the story, if there is any
shit.
moral for our viewers, our little baby boys, is if you're going to go to a party, go on your own. Because you don't want to be coming home at like 10:30 at night, craving In-N-Out, and you can't have it because your friends brought you down. You got to live your own life, you know. That's the moral of the story.
That's true.
And now I go to art school where all the parties are in an elevator ride up. So